look in the mirror every single day. You trust it completely. But there's a problem. The face staring back at you isn't your real face. Not exactly. In fact, nobody on Earth has ever truly seen themselves the way other people do. A few years ago, a woman went viral after filming herself with a reversed camera filter. Her entire face felt like a stranger wearing her skin. And what disturbed her most was realizing that this was the version everyone else had seen her whole life. Not the mirror version she trusted, the real one. People in the comments called her dramatic, but psychologists already knew exactly what she was experiencing because your brain has been lying to you for years, quietly, constantly, perfectly. And this is where things start getting strange. You see, mirrors don't actually show you how you look. They show you a reversed version of your face. Left becomes right, right becomes left. Your entire identity has been built around a flipped illusion. That reflection becomes familiar because you've seen it thousands of times. Every bathroom mirror, every elevator reflection, every passing window, your brain memorizes that version of you. So when you suddenly see your real face in a photograph or inverted video, your mind rejects it. Not because it's worse, but because it feels biologically wrong. Humans are deeply attached to familiarity, even when familiarity is fake. And this psychological effect has a name: the mere exposure effect. The more often your brain sees something, the more it prefers it, even if the thing itself is objectively identical, which means you don't necessarily love your face. You love the version your brain got used to. And suddenly, a terrifying question appears. If your own face can feel unfamiliar, then how much of your identity is just repetition? How much of you is only habit? But that's not even the unsettling part, because mirrors don't just reverse your face, they freeze it. Real human faces are alive, moving, shifting, micro-expressions constantly changing every second. But when you stare into a mirror, you control your expression, you prepare yourself, you perform, you slightly raise your eyebrows, adjust your mouth, correct imperfections in real time. You never truly catch yourself naturally. You catch yourself acting, and other people notice this instantly. That's why candid photos often feel disturbing. Not because cameras are evil, but because they reveal versions of yourself you never rehearsed. Versions untouched by self-awareness. For a split second, you meet the person everyone else already knows. And sometimes you don't recognize them at all. But then something even darker happens. Over time, your brain starts separating your internal self from your physical appearance entirely. Most people secretly believe they look younger than they are, kinder than they are, more attractive than they are, more emotionally stable than they are. Not because they're narcissists, because the brain protects identity at all costs. Your mind edits reality to preserve psychological survival. And this is the part almost nobody talks about. You have never experienced yourself directly, only interpretations. Think about it. You've never heard your real voice the way others hear it. You've never seen your natural face in motion from another person's perspective. You've never watched yourself entering a room the way strangers do. Your entire self-image is constructed through distortions. Mirrors, recordings, memories, social reactions, fragments. Your identity is basically a hallucination stitched together by the brain. And yet, you defend it with your life. But the deeper scientists studied self-perception, the stranger it became. In one experiment, researchers digitally altered people's faces without telling them. Tiny changes, more symmetrical eyes, slightly reshaped jawlines, subtle adjustments, almost impossible to consciously notice. Then, participants were asked to choose the real version of themselves. Most people chose the altered image, not the authentic one. The improved illusion felt more correct than reality, which means something horrifying. Your brain doesn't necessarily want truth. It wants comfort. And social media discovered this before psychology fully understood it. Filters, face tuning, soft lighting, algorithmic beauty. Modern technology slowly edits people into idealized versions of themselves, and eventually people begin grieving their own real face. There are now plastic surgeons reporting patients bringing filtered selfies as references, not celebrity photos, their own modified faces. Think about how insane that is. Human beings are becoming attached to identities that never physically existed, and this creates a psychological fracture, because reality can never fully compete with fantasy. But this story goes deeper than beauty standards, much deeper. Because your face isn't just how others see you, it's how you locate yourself in reality. Neurologists discovered something terrifying while studying facial recognition disorders. Some patients with brain injuries could no longer recognize their own reflection. Imagine walking past a mirror and feeling absolutely nothing. No familiarity, no emotional connection, no self. Just another human standing there. For most people, that sounds impossible, but your sense of self is far more fragile than you think. There's actually a phenomenon called the strange face illusion. If you stare at your reflection in dim lighting long enough, your face begins to mutate. Features distort, eyes darken, the face changes into someone else. People report seeing monsters, dead relatives, unknown figures, and no, this isn't paranormal. It's neurological. Your brain becomes exhausted trying to stabilize identity. The facial recognition system starts breaking apart, meaning your sense of self requires constant mental maintenance. You are actively being rendered by your brain every second, and when that process weakens, you begin disappearing. That should terrify you, because it means identity is not fixed. It's ongoing construction, a performance generated in real time. But then something happened that made this even more unsettling. Scientists started studying how other people perceive us compared to how we perceive ourselves, and the results were brutal. Most people are terrible at predicting how they appear socially. The awkward thing you obsessed over for weeks, other people barely noticed it. The flaw you think defines your face, most people forgot it instantly. The embarrassing moment replaying in your head at 3 a.m., nobody remembers. Because while you are trapped inside your own self-awareness, everyone else is trapped inside theirs, which creates one of the strangest truths about human existence. Nobody sees you as much as you think they do. The version of you living inside your mind does not exist inside anyone else's. Every person you've ever met carries a different version of your identity, different memories, different emotional impressions, different interpretations. To your mother, you are one person. To your childhood friend, another. To strangers, something entirely different. There is no single you, only countless psychological copies scattered across human minds, and none of them are fully accurate, including yours, especially yours. This is why losing relationships can feel like partial death. Because when someone leaves, an entire version of you disappears with them. A specific identity collapses forever. And maybe that's why humans are so obsessed with being seen. Not physically, psychologically. We desperately want someone to confirm that the person we think we are actually exists. But complete understanding never happens. It can't, because consciousness is locked behind skin. You will never fully experience another human being, and they will never fully experience you. We spend our entire lives translating ourselves through expressions, language, photos, mirrors, and performances, hoping the signal survives the distortion. Most of the time, it doesn't. And yet people still spend years chasing the perfect face, the perfect image, the perfect presentation, the perfect identity, as if one final correction will finally align the outside with the inside. But it never fully does. Because the problem was never your face. The problem is that human beings were never designed to observe themselves this closely. For almost all of history, humans rarely saw their own reflection. No front cameras, no high-definition mirrors, no constant self-monitoring. But modern life forces people into permanent self-awareness. You can now examine your face more in 1 week than ancient humans did in entire lifetimes. And psychologically, our brains were never prepared for that. Maybe that's why anxiety exploded, why insecurity spreads so easily, why identity feels increasingly unstable. People aren't just living anymore, they're watching themselves live constantly. And the human mind begins collapsing when it becomes both the actor and the audience. That reflection was never really you, just an approximation, a translation.
A mentally edited symbol your consciousness learned to accept. Your real face only exists briefly, in motion, in memory, in the minds of other people, and even there, it changes constantly. So maybe the most unsettling truth isn't that you've never seen your real face. Maybe it's this: there may not be a single real version of you to see in the first place, only shifting perceptions, fragments, interpretations, a human being endlessly reconstructed inside different minds, including your own. And somewhere between all those distorted reflections, you spend your entire life trying to meet yourself.